Everybody wants to be a winner, a winner.
Fucking graduation day. They make a big deal out of it like it was something special or something. Hey guys, it's your favorite final boy and girl, Alex and Emily, coming at you in a new episode of Gag Me with a Knife, a weekly podcast where we dissect, disembowel, and shred the best and worst slasher movies. For today's episode, we're going to be gagging on 1981's Graduation Day. As always, Emily has the original and priceless VHS copy, so let's put on our cap and gowns, grab some beers, and hear what the back of that box says.
All right.
All right.
Well, I was getting to it. Taut suspense, heart-stopping shocks, and mystery are all awaiting in Graduation Day. It's just weeks before high school graduation, and members of the track team are being mysteriously and gruesomely murdered, one at a time. When the team's star runner, Laura Ramstead, falls dead at the end of her championship meet, her sister Anne comes to town and a grisly series of murders begin. Is Anne responsible, or is it Coach Michaels, who has been fired because of Laura's death? Perhaps it's the campus policeman who is disliked because of his overzealous drug investigations. Or is it Laura's boyfriend, Kevin, who can't reconcile himself to Laura's death? You won't want to see this one alone. I wanted to just stop before I said alone, because you won't want to see this one alone.
Alone.
1981. What are your thoughts?
So I like the and we'll get into it more later, but I like the tagline for this movie where it says the class of '81 is running out of time. But yeah, this is an average early '80s slasher.
Mine says the seniors of Midvale High are being fitted for caps and gowns and coffins.
Oh, that's cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is an average '80s, slasher movie, basically. At the time, it had a lot of competition when it was released. I didn't watch this one growing up, so I don't have a lot of nostalgia with it. But it was competing against things like Halloween 2, The Burning, The Prowler, Bloody Valentine, and Bloody Birthday, some pretty big hitters for '81. So I didn't watch this one as much growing up. I watched those other ones. But even at the end of
Friday
this...
the 13th, Part 2.
That was '81? Yeah. So even at the end...
Which is insane.
Even at the end of this, though, the killer to me, none of it mattered. There's almost no main character. There's no growth really for anybody anywhere. Even our final girl, if you want to call her that, she's hardly even in the movie, it seems. I'm not even sure if the adults or the students are the main characters. It just comes across as a bunch of scenes put together to me to make a movie. There's bad acting and not in the way that we like. A terribly low budget with bad lighting. They were not kind to the movie's success. But with all of that still being said, it sounds like I hate it. I don't. I'm still going to give this movie 3 stars because it has some cool death scenes, a few jarring moments, and it gave us Vanna White and Linnea Quigley. What about you?
Yeah, well, I think I give it a 3.25. But what's funny when you talk about the characters is that Linnea Quigley was not originally supposed to be in this movie. There was, if you notice, the girl at the beginning that doesn't want to take the yearbook picture or the picture of the track team for the yearbook because she wants to wait on that girl that got murdered, whoever she is. They're like, we can't take it without her. That's Dolores, which is the character that Linnea Quigley plays. Well, she had like a nudity clause, the original girl. So they just replaced her with Linnea Quigley and just didn't even they didn't make her a different character. They didn't kill, which, it would seem like they would kill off that blonde girl just so they don't have to. This isn't Roseanne where we have 2 Beckys. But that's exactly what it is.
2 Beckys.
Or Bewitched, Bewitched, where they had 2 Darrens or whatever. It's like
no, but fortunately, Linnea Quigley wasn't.
Pre-boob job, by the way.
Pre-boob job, and she was still fine. 81. You kind of didn't say no to topless scenes.
I think it's one of her first movies.
It is. She probably would not have been trash. And if she wasn't trash, then she definitely probably wouldn't have been in Out of the Demons. So I mean, this kind of set her into a trajectory for some horror slasher
Yeah, I mean, I
fame.
definitely think she's a scream queen for sure, like big time.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought that I really one of her chase scene was one of my favorites that we'll get to. It was a good scene. I thought that was that part of it was a good scene, but we'll get to that. So I mean,
okay. Go ahead.
I guess are we starting the movie?
I mean, do you have?
Because like in 5 seconds, I was already not feeling the disco after school special music on the opening credits track.
I love that song.
I knew you would. It's like it's sort of 70s soft rock meets Bee Gees meets something else, but it just.
So why don't you like it? You like all those things?
Not during a track sprint. People doing gymnastics. I don't know. It just seemed like there's like people out here cheering like it's the damn NCAA national championship of football. I mean, for the Olympics, for like for this high school track team.
So, yeah, we begin with first of all, okay, another thing before we really start is they're in high school, and there's a part where one of them, it's Linnea Quigley's boyfriend, and she's talking about some girl. They're talking about some other girl that he had like fooled around with, and she's like, oh, do you still think about her or something like that? And he's like, she's in high school. And I'm like, all y'all are in high school. You haven't graduated yet. What are you talking about? So I'm like, did like the people think that they might release it as like college graduates and then change it? Like it was because a lot of times it felt like that.
Well, it did because, like, our high school, I mean, there are high schools that had some of these things, but I don't even know that some of the more posh private schools had gymnastics and pole vaulting in high school, did they? Do you know that?
William Blunt used to.
Yeah. So maybe it wasn't as uncommon, but this definitely.
But gymnastics is pretty uncommon, even in, a lot of times. Well, not all, but like UT doesn't have a gymnastics team.
I mean, and they had like, the uneven bars or whatever they're called. It wasn't just like floor routines, dance routines.
All she was doing was a bar routine, and it's not. And it's so funny. I used to be a gymnast, so that's why it was funny to me because, I mean, that's how you did bars in the '80s. But like now, you don't like they're too far apart to do all that hip stuff that you do. So I was just like laughing at it.
Yeah, and these people look a little older to me than high school. I mean, but that couldn't,
That's always kind of.
Yeah, exactly. But this could have. That comment alone does make me think that it could have been seen, set up as a
I really think it was set up as a college graduation, and then they just changed it to high school, honestly. But I mean, that's just speculation. So, but we begin the movie with a awesome song, whatever you think, I don't care. And they're in a track meet, and this girl who we find out later is Laura Ramstead, and she's Kevin's girlfriend. She wins the race, but soon after crossing the finish line, she collapses and dies.
Yeah, she really died after a 30-second sprint. Okay, that's reason number one. I'm sitting my ass on the couch and I ain't exercising. So I ain't dying for that. I can't
right now, and I feel like I'm about 1,000 pounds, but but I did eat Sonic, so I mean, whatever. Anyway, so we fast forward 2 months after this happens, and it's the day before graduation. So Laura's sister comes in town, and she's like been away because she's in the Navy, and her stepdad is a total douchebag, and I guess he like really like preferred Laura.
What gave it away? The fact that the dead daughter's room is still there, and her room is turned into a freaking dark room.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, go serve our country, but we're gonna get rid of your room, but keep the dead girl's room.
Well, where is she sleeping then later? Like whatever. But
she's sleeping in Laura's room.
Okay.
That's the whole thing. She's like, you can go sleep in Laura's room, and she goes, well, Mom, what about my room? She's like, oh, your father turned it into a dark room. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I think it's step. He's a step.
Well, no, but she, but whatever. I mean, it is stepfather, but she uses the word father. But he is her stepdad because that comes out later. So
then we cut to the high school, and someone's stealing a picture of the track team, and then like Laura's face is crossed out, and then he crosses out a girl named Paula's face. Now Paula's the girl that
because at this point she's already died.
Did she?
She dies. She dies before. Yeah, she dies right before the sister shows up to the house.
She dies after he crosses her face out, because after that is when she's running through the woods.
Oh, running through the woods. Gotcha. Yeah. That. Oh.
Yeah. Well, she's the one that they're like.
Laura's face was crossed out for some.
Yeah. Laura's face is already crossed out. Then he crossed out Paula's because she was the one that they were like, we can't take the picture without Paula, whatever. So she's running through the woods, and then we have what I think they meant to have a Giallo moment, and someone's wearing black gloves, and they have a stopwatch, and it stops at 30 seconds because I guess it's 30 seconds like how long it took Laura or something.
Yeah, and part of this too is so. We'll probably touch on some of them, but this was one more red herring in the movie because right after this, so he kills her after 30 seconds on the stopwatch. First of all, dedication. This person's going in my book of famed killers because I don't even want to like wait 30 seconds for a little hamburger to come out of the microwave. And he's over here stopwatching them, boom, and killing them on this, commemorating this 30-second track and field death. But all you see is these black gloves and like a
I honestly might have put him in my top underrated killers in slasher movies if I'd seen it, but anyway, whatever.
But then it shows Anne unpacking, and one of the first things she unpacks is a pair of black gloves.
Right, and
so Giallo or just red herring palooza.
Well, yeah, that's another thing about Giallos is they have a million red herrings.
Yeah,
and it's always the least likely person.
Yeah, and right before that, you got a sense that you don't know why she's even in town for sure. I mean, because like her agenda, you know why she's there, surface level. But she's in the car with this truck driver, and he's all being weird to her, and she just grabs his friggin' balls and starts threatening him. Like, so you already think she's got this kind of violent tendency. So you're wondering, oh, okay, hey.
Well, I took that as her just being like, "Fuck you," like.
But she's come across, but she's not to be fucked with, and she does that. Someone gets killed with black gloves, and then she pulls out black gloves. I mean, like, it's just again, it's just the red herring situation.
Okay, so after that's actually when Anna arrives home again, and starts talking about Laura's death with her mother. But and she also says she's going to leave right after graduation. So she that's when she unpacks and she has the black gloves and gray sweatshirt, which becomes important.
Yep.
So then Sally, who cares? She's like walking through the woods and she sees Anne, who is heading to the auditorium as a special guest for the graduation rehearsal, which was a shit show. That principal didn't have any control over anything. He
can't even control his outfit. Do you think he can control a group of graduates?
They're so rude to him. It's hilarious.
I mean, that outfit alone, he deserves it.
Like Liars and Thieves worked for us,
He was bad.
I hate two things. I hate liars. I hate thieves. That's from high school.
I don't remember that at all.
You don't remember that? He said it. Mr. Brown said it every single year at the beginning of the year at our assembly at the beginning of the year.
That was like 15 years ago. I really don't think about it anymore, so I forgot all about that.
Well, yeah, he would always be like, I hate two things. I hate liars and I hate thieves. Liars and thieves. Okay, so at the end of all of this like shit show of a graduation rehearsal, Anne gives Kevin one of Laura's track medals because he was her boyfriend or whatever. And then later that day, Sally again is changing into her gymnastics clothes, and the lights turn off, and she runs into Doris, who is played by Vanna White. And so now she's like all scared and stuff, and she's supposed to be performing her bar routine for the school photographer, and she keeps messing up, which it's for the school photographer, and he's like going off on the photographer and her, and it's like
it's not like it's an actual routine.
Yeah, he keeps being like, I got the shot, it's fine. It's like you don't have to do a perfect routine for someone to photograph a good shot. Like you could have.
You do it for Coach Michaels. Didn't you see he just got someone killed, but he was pressuring them so much. He's like friggin' Bobby Knight over here.
Yeah, I know. So while she's doing her routine, though, it cuts to the team photo and her face is crossed out.
Right, the black glove crosses it out.
Yes. So she like has this is when she says at the end of her routine she says, "This is for you, coach. Sit on it and rotate." And then she goes to shave her legs in the gym. Um I mean, then she's impaled with a sword by the killer, who
Who's
is
now wearing
now seen
fencing
wearing a
clothing.
fencing attire.
Yeah, it's like over here wearing fencing clothes.
And he or she stops the stopwatch at 30 seconds. I don't understand. Okay, where does is the 30 seconds because that's how long it took Laura
Yeah,
to
yeah.
finish
We
her
just said.
life? Okay.
We just said
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because the whole point, the coach is going 30 seconds, Laura, 30 seconds, and she's running like whatever. But yeah, she dies right at 30. She finishes the track run at 30 seconds and then collapses.
Okay. So then we cut to one of your favorite scenes, I think, which is we're in the music room now.
Oh my God, that
And
dude on the piano is an entire
yes,
mood. That is me
he
at the
is
piano bar on a cruise ship.
Liberace. He is wanting to be Liberace. And then he's like talking to Vanna White, who, by the way, half the time she's just seen from the back. I just want to say,
She's not really a significant character. She's in here like for like 3 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. So she and this other girl end up leaving, and Linnea Quigley's character Dolores shows up, and she's like
Basically
failing. She's gonna fail the class. Well, she's gonna fail the class, and he goes. What I thought was funny. He goes, "You've hardly been here," which I think was also a nod to the fact that she replaced the other actress.
Yeah, she came out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, she just locks the door, walks up to him, and he's like, Dolores, don't. Dolores, oh, Dolores, Motorboat City. I mean, what? Like, out of nowhere.
Like, after that all happens, he's like, he knows something's happening. And he like walks into, I don't know, some kind of, maybe it's dark and he walks into another room or something. I don't know. But he says that he keeps going, whoever it is, I know where you are. I know you. Well, whoever it is, I know where you are. Whoever it is, I know who you are.
He goes, yeah, all right, look,
No,
whoever it is, I know who you are. Otherwise, no, you don't. You lying. Lies through your teeth.
Clearly, you don't know who it is. It's like, whatever. And so he gets killed. So, and
I would have died and been like, Goulet, and then dead. Close his eyes because he was a mood. I loved him. He's my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then so then Dolores is with her boyfriend, who is Tony, who is a fellow track member. And they're in the woods and they're confronted by the officer because they have like marijuana, and they run off to the high school, and Dolores is found by Coach Michaels, and he actually tells her that he is upset about being blamed for Laura's death, when in reality she died of a blood clot in her heart. Which okay. And then this is one of my favorite part of the movies because it makes no sense. Then it cuts to this guy in a football outfit for no reason, running through the woods with a whole football suit on, throwing a football around, and he just running through the woods. Like, why?
Yeah, I like this dude just going out on a full ass jog with full pads on in the middle of the woods with a football. Like, and he's like doing juke moves and spin moves, and I'm like, what? For who? The squirrels? What are you doing? I mean,
I loved that.
Yeah, he's like posing, the Heisman pose and doing all these things, and I'm like, you are literally on a trail in the middle of the woods by yourself.
Yeah.
Until he's not.
Until he accidentally throws it into the woods. And then so while he's looking for the ball.
He doesn't throw it into the woods. Those girls throw it into the woods.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he runs into two girls and they play monkey in the middle with him and throw the ball into the woods.
So, and his name is Ralph. So then he's like still looking for the ball, but the killer throws it at him. The killer's found it and put a metal spike
on it.
Yeah. And so he's impaled by the spike and dies. And then, the stopwatch stops at 30 seconds and crosses Ralph's face off the team photo. So he did that one afterwards.
And right before this, we had another red herring scene about who else could be the killer. right after the motorboat city with Dolores and Mr. Roberts, it flashes to the principal in his office in his dizzy ass drug induced Willy Wonka suit. And he's asking like one of his assistants to like do like a lot of shit.
Her name's Barbie.
Oh, is it Barbie or Blondie or Barbie?
Blondie.
Yeah, Blondie. And she's like, has less than 24 hours notice to basically like redo the graduation. And she's like, she pitches a fit. And I'm like, that's a total mood for corporate America. She just didn't even know it. But then all of a sudden he like starts blowing in her neck and her ear. And I'm like, is this a sexy thing? Do women like that? Like he's not just like sex. He's over the top going, like blowing in her fucking ear, and she's eating it up.
Yeah.
But anyway, she walks out, and they basically agree to rendezvous at like midnight or whatever with a glass of wine, because she's gonna be up all night redoing graduation. Then he like gets his switchblade, and then he opens to cut up an apple. He cuts it up like a psychopath, and then he opens a drawer, and there's like 20 switchblades in this drawer. Like what? Red herring, but.
Then it cuts to a ridiculous scene that was not needed with the band playing loud. Elvis.
Before they even go to the band, they have the graduation song, the harmonica song, the Graduation Day Blues.
Yeah. Because I wrote that Kevin was really laying it on the harmonica. It's ridiculous.
And Elvis, whoever the singer is, he is slaying that song. He's trying to be Elvis. Like he's probably in Vegas right now as an impersonator to this day.
Yeah. So it's and there's no reason for this scene except for that I guess Dolores and Tony leave, and so leave the band.
There's like this is the second of third like musical renditions in this movie, and I'm like, why are any of these in here? It's like if Glee made a slasher, but not.
Except for worse. I mean, way worse because we don't have.
Yeah.
Somewhere only we know.
And you're about to probably get to the Boy George scene, aren't you?
Boy George scene.
The guy that looks like friggin' Boy George in the roller rink, like right after the Graduation Day Blues.
Oh, right.
I'm like, I was like, Boy George, is that you?
We're not gonna skip the deaths of Dolores and Tony.
Well, no, we're not but they happen after the.
Did they cut between that and that?
Yeah, but after, it's like they do like 5 minutes of this roller rink music video. They had no right to be in this movie. I get why it was, but it was
all of this shit was in there to pad the movie to make it long enough.
Well, this was in there so that they could use the song and not have to have copyright issues from the felony band. They said that they could put this in here as long as they agreed to make an actual music video, and they did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was awful. It was horrible. They're just roller skating around this band in the middle of a thing, and it's this awful song sounding like cats dying, and people with the most androgynous makeup. I'm cool with this, but like they all looked like Boy George to me. I couldn't get past it. And then it starts flashing forward to Linnea Quigley and Tony. Is that his name?
Yeah, and she bites him, and I don't know. It wasn't a cute bite. It was weird.
It was a weird bite, but yeah. There's some weird mouth play going on in this movie.
And then I also wrote she got a boob job after this.
Did she?
Yeah, I mean her tits are really small in this movie. And then like he leaves because he says the world's my toilet.
That's not a cute thing to say after sex or during or before. And
he says it, and it's like supposed to be hot. I was like, yeah, that'd get me hot too. Like
that gets me super wet.
Yeah. So the killer comes out and decapitates him, and it's actually it's better than He Knows You're Alone head.
It's still better than if you turn the brightness up, it can actually see it. That's the only downfall. It's so dark on this scene.
Did you watch it on Prime?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do this too, real quick. Side note, sorry, troll, but this movie also was not a trauma movie. Even though it looks like one at the beginning, because they just decided to distribute it a few years ago. FYI, it was originally produced and distributed by Columbia. Is it Columbia Pictures?
I thought it was IFI Scope.
It was RCA Columbia first distributed it.
Oh, okay, yeah, I didn't have that. I just have it on mine on the back of mine as IFI Scope.
Oh, that was, yeah. I wonder what year that was. Because I think it was originally Columbia, and then it was RCA Columbia, and then who knows after that. But anyway, so that's my spiel on that. But um, what kind of outfit did he have on at this point? Whenever he's about to kill Linnea Quigley.
He's still got the fencing gear on, but he's wearing
That's what I thought. Okay, that's what I thought.
But he's got like this bright blue or grayish blue, like whatever, and he's running around like and chasing her like he's on a cartoon show. And
I said it's the dumbest killer's outfit I've ever seen, besides the night suit and of armor and what was it? All like to All a Good Night, and that whatever the deep sea diving outfit from Killer Party.
I mean, the Killer in Urban Legend Part 2 wears a fencing outfit, but yeah, what gave this one even sillier vibes was one, he keeps slashing with a fencing sword instead of stabbing.
There's no fencing in the movie.
It's just some awkward, weird ass sport that this high school supposedly has, like with pole vaulting and gymnastics that every school seems to have that I've never seen, including fencing now. True. But then after this Pink Floyd length of a song chase scene in the woods, lies. He stops the stopwatch at 30 seconds. Girl, that was at least 8 minutes.
Yeah, it was. Lie.
Lies.
God. Okay, so after that, you see one of the other guys who cares who he is. I mean, his name's Pete, but like, there are too many characters in this movie, and he attempts a pole vault. But this death was pretty cool.
This is my favorite death in the whole movie. Yeah.
But the pole vault pit had been replaced by steel spikes, so he's like killed on impact. But it showed it pretty well. It was a cool scene.
Yeah, it was my favorite.
And then, so we're back at the school wood shop, and the inspector is questioning the coach, who he's like, but I was fired because of negative publicity and the accusations of, his responsibility for Laura's death, which he wasn't, And then, so in the locker room, at the same time as this is happening, Vanna White's character, Doris, and this other random girl that's in it just as much as Doris, Joanne. So they open a locker and Sally's body's in it. And her body falls out. And then Coach Michaels and Kevin, I don't know. Oh, Kevin's the boyfriend. Kevin. They run to the locker room. And so then Kevin has a perfect opportunity to accuse Coach Michaels of being a killer, because he had just been yelling at Sally and all this stuff, even though how would Kevin know that? Anyway, so it results in a fight, and Coach Michaels he subdues Kevin, and then he runs away. And then Anne, the sister, it's the inspector and Kevin. Who's McGregor? Is that Kevin?
I thought, is McGregor the inspector?
Halliday is the inspector.
I don't know who McGregor is.
Oh, well. So then they finally find the photo with the faces. They're all crossed out except for Kevin's. So the inspector asks
McGregor, I think, might be the cop.
Okay. I thought it
not the inspector, but
I thought it might be Kevin because he's there.
No, Kevin's last name is Badger. McGregor, I think, is the actual cop, not the inspector.
So, no, yeah.
Yes, the inspector and the cop are two different people.
So how the inspector asks Anne about the photo, and Kevin runs off after Coach Michaels because he's gonna be like, you killed her. So this is where like the final fight scene, which is long as hell. Another long as hell. I also thought the inspector, when he ran, it was hilarious because he ran like with his hands up and like flailing. But anyway, so I did write that this is an atrociously long chase scene.
But who's chase scene?
When Kevin's chasing Coach Michael or Coach Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's that's a long chase scene, but the end chase scene is the longest one. It's
Yeah, I was like about to say this.
awful.
This isn't the Anne chasing. We haven't even gotten to Coach Michael's
So
kid getting
yeah,
killed yet.
which you think? Well, because I forgot for a second that this isn't the end of the movie because it seems like that this would be the end of the movie. You know.
Right, because the killer's unmasked, and at the end of at this time, as you mentioned, there are so many damn characters, and we really don't even know who the final girl is. We get there, but like we don't know who the main character is. Actually, I think the main character of the movie is Laura, even though she's been dead the whole movie.
I think she is too. I think she is too, and I think
yeah.
and actually, now that I'm going back and thinking about it, that's actually pretty cool to have the main character be someone that's dead the whole time.
Yeah, and it was, and I guess saying it out loud like this just now does kind of help solidify that. Because
I didn't think about it.
I'm like, who are you and why do I care? Who are you and why do I care? Who are you and why do I care? The whole movie. So Laura is like is their glue.
Yeah, she is. Like she's the one that pulls everything together. Even though they are all on the track team, so that pulls them together. But like everything is about Laura. Everything.
Yeah, because even the scenes of them together, they're not really doing anything together. They're always going off in couples, and someone's doing this. They're not really interacting together, like ever.
Right.
It's
so
like, weird.
I would say the only other person I would consider like a main character, and I don't know if I would think this if she hadn't been into other movies, but Linnea Quigley does make an impact in the movie, even though she died. She And she is the final girl.
But she's also in the movie probably like 8 to 12 minutes. I mean, she's really not.
None of the characters are in the movie for very long, except for
that
like the coach.
That stopwatch is in the movie more than anybody.
The coach is in it a lot, and that's about it. Even Kevin's not in it a lot.
And the principal is somewhat in it. But I'm just like, I didn't know if this was an adult for the movies or for the adults or for the kids. It was just really, I didn't care about anybody in the whole movie. So that was the thing. It's so surprising that I gave 2 shits about anybody, and I still gonna give this 3 stars.
So me too. Same.
Right.
So okay, we're in the woods now. Kevin is found.
We're deep in the woods.
Yeah, we're in the woods, and so the they stumble across Ralph's body, and Coach Michaels tries to explain to Kevin that he's not the killer, and then we find out that Kevin was planning on marrying Laura after graduation, and Kevin starts a stopwatch, pulls out a knife, and attacks Coach Michaels, and he's disarmed during the struggle, and Coach Michaels picks up a knife, but see, that's when the inspector shows up. So
Halliday.
Celebrate.
Inspector Halliday coming at us.
If you took a holiday, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Leave it to me to turn Inspector Halliday in this episode into a Madonna song. Okay, bye.
Whatever. Anything should be made into a Madonna song. She's amazing. Icon. So since he finds Coach Michaels with the knife in his hand, Kevin lies and says that Coach was going to kill him, even though he's the one that has the wounds, whatever. So a short time later, Anne is talking to Blondie, which is the secretary
of the principal.
Principal, yeah. And she discovered that Kevin was lying to her.
Right.
About
this is my second favorite part of the movie.
About what?
What you're about to go into, I think.
What you're about to go into.
I'm gonna go into it. Okay. Well, so she after she's been lying, she's like, I'm gonna go to Kevin's house, and she's just kind of like hanging out. She like lets herself in and starts walking around the damn place.
But what was she lying to? I can't remember what she was lying. He was lying about.
Probably just everything.
No, there was something specific. I just can't.
I mean, it was the only time I remember seeing them talk was in the auditorium or something when they gave she gave him that medal. I don't really remember.
I can't remember what she said he was lying about.
I mean, does it really matter what he was lying?
Anyway, go ahead. This isn't Grey's Anatomy. I don't know
And it
why.
could, yeah, it could have been with like
I don't know why I just said Grey's Anatomy, but
it could have been something with that damn photo album he gave her or she gave him or whatever too.
yeah.
But she just like walks into this room and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know nobody else was in here." And it's somebody in their yellow cap and gown, and she walks around and it's like a whole ass psycho Norman Bates moment. There's this skeleton bitch in a cap and gown. Yeah, in a cap and gown. So and it's Laura. So he fucking dug her ass up and dressed her like a damn Barbie doll. And I was like, yes, yes. I loved it.
I thought it was so cool. And then, but then we have the chase scene, which is.
So the thing that makes the chase scene even so bad, it's not just that it's long. It's that the chase itself, so let alone the fight scene portions, the actual chase as well it's painfully detailed choreographed. Like it's so fake. It's just everything is so boom. It's like worse than it is worse than a Power Rangers episode. I mean, it's really bad quality. It's like
I like how you're.
I mean, whatever. Saber-tooth tiger, and like it's just really bad.
Captain Planet.
That was a cartoon. They didn't choreograph really anything in that.
Yeah, I guess it is. You don't choreograph.
But it was painfully choreographed, and it was like it went on, and it was like it almost seemed like it was straight out of like Scary Movie. It was like 4 different locations. They fly out of a window, they're out of the front yard, then all of a sudden they end up in a back in the track and the stadium, and I'm like,
let's not forget the really cool scene where she pushes Kevin out the window with the corpse.
With the corpse in slow-mo.
Which was really cool. I loved that. I did. And it was just
so like there's an episode too that I was thinking of, a Family Guy, where Peter's fighting this chicken for like 20 minutes across the whole town, and that's what I felt like the scene was. So if anybody is listening has seen that episode where he's fighting this fucking chicken all over town, that's what this scene was. It literally is the dumbest, most boring, painfully choreographed fight scene. So then she basically, I guess they get under the stadium, under the steps, bleachers.
Well, and that's how he's killed.
Yeah, so they finally take it under whatever, and there's like this little shed boxy thing underneath.
I was ahead because what kills it. Never mind.
Yeah, so she opens.
I'm sorry, I was confused for a second.
She's hiding, or not hiding. She opens this like sheddy, boxy room, outhouse looking thing underneath the stadium.
Over the location changes. Oh my god.
So she does that. She opens that, and then the dude, I guess it was Pete, maybe. The guy, the pole vaulter, he's like nailed to the door with all of his spikes. Yeah. Which is kind of creepy. I feel like we just saw
that death was good anyway, so I was kind of glad to see the aftermath of it.
And we just saw the fact, because Dolores was killed off screen, I believe. She was like slashed, but then we see her head. Right here too, so we found that she must have been decapitated clearly off screen.
Another good head.
And that was a really good head. So I didn't realize what was going on at first when that person was like nailed to the door, because my notes I wrote, what the hell just happened? Did he just get pushed back into the dead guy's dick? Why is he bleeding out of his mouth? What happened? I really had no idea. I had to watch the scene 3 times, and I didn't understand that he got pushed into this guy with all his spikes still in him. Yeah. And that's what killed him. It really confused me. I had to, and I kept having issues with Prime, and it kept resetting the movie. And it's like, I just want to know what happened. Show me what happened to this guy.
I thought that was pretty cool. That it was like she killed him on top of someone that he had killed.
But part of me's thinking if she'd pushed him that hard, it would have pushed the door back and snapped the door off, because that was a really shitty.
Well,
shot class looking
able to push him hard enough to.
Well, preach all this. I'm not making sense of it all. I mean, but at the end of the day, unless those were the sharpest things you've ever seen, it was just really weird that like kills him. But there we have that death.
Yeah. Killer Kevin was the killer, and he's an insane person. So after that, she gives a statement to the police, and then she goes home and goes to sleep, and then she wakes up, and so she thinks, and Kevin's in her room,
looking like he's from the Thriller music video.
Yeah. When but then she wakes up and it's actually her fucking stepfather who's just drunk.
Yeah, so Kevin
And
looks
that
like a
makes me
zombie.
think that if that was Laura's room, that the stepfather might have been molesting her. Honestly, that's
It
like
could have happened. I mean, he had a weird
he
fixation,
had
it
a
seemed.
weird figure. Yeah, he definitely did. I totally got like those kind of
But
vibes.
so in her hallucination or her vision, Kevin was like holding a knife or something, and then the lights flash on, and it's a really good transitional scene. Like it instantly replaces everything. It's a really well seamlessly shot transition to it being her stepfather holding a bottle in his hand. So it also wonders the fact if it wasn't a molestation thing that could have been happening, if he was in there drunkenly, like not blaming because I mean, whatever. His daughter died of a freak health accident, but like maybe he has some sort of this resentment towards Anne that's never explained either. So he's not well. He's constantly drunk, and he has a fixation on Laura, and he doesn't seem to give a shit about his daughter who's alive serving our country in the Navy.
Yeah, and that which kind of makes me think that maybe the mom had gotten married like when she was gone or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Maybe that too.
yeah. So I have a few fun facts. Oh, by the way, the end of the movie, she leaves and she says
she
goodbye,
leaves.
and wait, there's a banner that she like drives underneath that says like happy graduation or something like that.
And then the credits roll, and Emily, you didn't know this. I had to let you know. But at the very end of the movie, after the credits roll, it's like 2020 or 60 minutes, all up in this bitch again. The credits end, and then you just see this damn black glove holding the stopwatch, and it's like click on 30 seconds, and I'm like, that serves no point because you dead, and I don't know why they like. It's not a goof credit. It's not a crazy credit. It's not a teaser for a part two. I don't know what the point of that was. Like, what was the point of half the movie? But especially that. Anyway. So what are some of the fun facts you have?
Hold on. Okay. So I'm gonna go a little bit deeper into this girl that like they had to replace with Linnea Quigley.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So the blonde girl in the number 46 track jersey was cut out of the film as much as possible since she was fired due to refusal to fulfill the nudity requirements. Linnea Quigley was hired to replace her. And Quigley talked about her big break in a 2004 interview. I got graduation day by going in and having Tex scared. This other girl had already been cast as Dolores, but once she got on the set, she refused to show her breasts. So they called me, and I was scared too, but I wanted to do the film so badly. And back then, it was like a huge no to refuse to do nudity. So I guess I got lucky. So it wasn't her first time to do nude scenes. This part's weird. She had already been fully nude in a previous film, including one where she played a 15-year-old girl. She was 21 at the time, but she played a 15-year-old girl who danced naked during a movie audition. Can you imagine that happening now? I mean, it wouldn't happen now, but...
I know. Yeah. I mean, because the closest thing I can even think to any of that, in any type of age thing, is back with like 98, 97, whatever, when Thora Birch had the nude scene on American Beauty, but her parents had to even be, she actually was still underage, and her parents had to be on set or whatever, and that was real. That wasn't an adult playing a 15-year-old. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And so the band Felony, you kind of went into this. They didn't charge any money for the use of their song. They just
charged me 10 years off my life by watching that 7 minute long music video.
I know they did the song in the roller rink, but did they do the opening song?
I have no clue.
I don't either. Okay. So it was shot in 3 weeks. And at the time of the film's release, there was a backlash from critics against overabundance of slasher films being made. It was mostly Roger Ebert and Siskel and Ebert, because they hated slasher movies. Like, I know that they did like Halloween, but like once they got into this like the formulaic slasher movies, they really hated all of them.
But yeah, the Washington Post, the New York Times, and the LA Times all shit all over this movie too.
because of the violence against women, which
Well,
is
that's not why they did it, but I mean,
oh, I
these
know, but that's
people.
why Siskel and Ebert did. And I remember I told you about this already, but I wrote a paper on how I think that it's like empowering for women because it's usually a woman that's like the last one. But anyway, whatever. So so there was backlash. So in a form of protest, many critics refused to review any horror movies in hopes that the lack of print publicity would have a negative impact on the film's profits. As a result, Graduation Day did well upon its premiere in Los Angeles, where it coincided at many schools' graduation, but not as well on the East Coast, where it received no reviews from critics whatsoever.
Right.
And I do have how much it made, but I can't remember right now. So, the skating extras were.
I wrote this down
It
a while back.
grossed well. It grossed
about
24 million.
24 million, and it only cost 250,000.
Yeah. Which I was shocked, honestly. The skating extras were only paid $5 each. The director, Herb Freed, and producer David Bond went to various movie theaters in California in person or in order to ensure that they would show the trailer for the film because I guess that people weren't. And then the producer raised the money for the budget from various theater chain owners. So I guess that probably is why I did better in the West Coast.
Yeah.
The lead actress, Patch McKenzie's character's name is Anne, while the name of the writer of this film is also Anne. That's not a fun fact. I hate it when they do that. I mean, that's
I had to look this up because I thought that this name sounded familiar. I didn't realize who the band was in this movie. So Felony does have 3 songs in this movie. The very first song in the movie, though, I think it might be called The Winner. That sounds like it would be called The Winner based on what it was, and that was not them. They had a song called Gangster Rock, The Killer, and Lucky Strike in this movie, but they had a song, because their voice, whatever, they had a song in Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. Anyway, okay. I just thought that the name Felony, like, it was ringing a bell. I had no really idea, but there we go.
Oh, and the Linnea Quigley we were talking about when she gets decapitated and they find her head later, that was actually not her head. It was the head of the original girl that they hired. So it doesn't really look at it. I mean, it's a good headshot.
Did they film it like out of order or something?
I guess. Not necessarily. Just because you have that stuff doesn't mean you necessarily recorded it out of order. They probably the effects guys probably want to get the casts done. Like the prosthetics, like where you have to like get a head cast or whatever.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So they probably did all that first.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Good stuff. Good fucking stuff. Herb Freed. Did you already touch on his cameo? I think he had a cameo.
No, I did not.
So he's the one in that goofy ass outfit chasing Linnea Quigley the whole time, because you can tell that's like one of the only times we see the masked person like on a full-on body shot running around. And I swear though, he is just literally running around like he's in a goddamn cartoon show. He is so hokey. Ugh, in that outfit.
A lot of it was very hokey.
Not the hokey pokey.
The hokey pokey, and you turn yourself around.
Holla.
That's what it's all about.
Yes.
So you gave it. What did you give it?
I think I'm going to give it a solid 3. I mean, I know I'm not.
I think
I'm overly impressed.
I think I'm going to go down to a 3. I think I'm going to agree with you. Not give it a 3.25. I think I'm going to give it a 3.
Yeah, I mean, they were just, while dumb as shit.
It was enjoyable, and it wasn't too long.
Yeah, the bayonet-tipped football, the spike trap, the cut-off head scene. I mean, the mummified girl in the, graduation gown.
I loved that.
All of those things to me, and then a little Vanna White throwback, and giving us Linnea Quigley first of all and foremost is like, I mean, it was still enjoyable. So
yeah, it's more enjoyable honestly than than the movie that came out I think 3 years after.
Yeah, 84.
Yeah, and I like Fatal Games, but it's basically, well, it's not basically the same. It's the people that are like training for the Olympics,
I
but
mean, it's just a person with a javelin killing off people on the gymnastics
right.
team as opposed to
And
the track
it
team.
does have a cool twist ending that, but I mean, it's
Well, we
kind
may
of
have that. We may have that on our list at some
yeah,
point.
it's damaging, I think, in a way. But
Oh,
anyway,
oh, yeah, totally,
yeah,
totally, totally, totally.
yeah. But
May or may not discuss it, but yeah.
yeah, but no, I mean, I think we should. It's like but it's a lot like this movie. It has like a kind of the same kind of music at the beginning too. It's weird.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I have to say about graduation day. How about you?
Same. I would just say, continue guys staying gagged on unearthing corpses.
Yeah, stay gagged on a football with a spike attached.
Stay gagged on stopwatches.
Stopwatches. Stay gagged on Vanna White's ponytail because it's basically all you see usually when she's in the scene.
Stay gagged on running around chasing teens like you're in a fucking villain in Scooby-Doo or Ninja Turtles.
Oh my God, real. Yeah, just stay gagged.
And stay gagged on following us on social media and YouTube.
Oh yeah, because we've got another one coming up soon. Well, we have two really really cool ones coming up. So.
Heck yeah! All right, guys. Until next time.
All right. See you later. Happy graduation day.
Peace out.